I'm the friend that's probably going to encourage the shenanigans.
And you know what she is.
I do. I do this often. I was like, don't call me if you need some sense in your life, because I'm like, no, that sounds like a great idea.
Sounds like, as a matter of fact, let's do it together.
Let's do it together.
Yeah. I am super excited because we are about to talk to someone who has had over a 25 plus year career, speaking with a very authentic voice, unashamed of her truth, of who she is, of who God has called her to be in this world. She's been known as a reporter, a podcast host, a producer, a cultural critic. The list goes on and on. She is many, many, many things, but she is someone who I believe is changing the fabric of our country for the better. And I'm elated that I get to call her a friend. And a friend to me is someone you can call at any time. You can ask them anything. They're not gonna judge you. They're gonna tell you the truth, and they're gonna love you through it all. This is my friend, Jemele Hill.
Oh,
welcome!
What an introduction. By the way, I have a picture of when we first met, and and it literally popped up in my memories, very, very recently.
I know I look crazy.
No, you do not. You look
the way I was fanning out. So I met Jemele Hill. And Jemele Hill Wallace. Okay, let's get it right.
Don't tell her my full government.
Okay, my bad.
I need to be anonymous in these streets sometimes.
How? Where?
Sometimes.
We met in 2017, and we were at the NAACP Awards. And I remember fanning out so hard because I would get up and watch. I don't really watch a lot of sports shows, but I would get up and watch His and Hers with my husband. And when I saw her, I was like, oh my God. I fanned out so hard.
But I ran up on you, though. I ran up on you.
Did we run up? I thought we ran up on each other.
Okay, because I was running up on you.
Because I was like, oh my God. When I saw you, I was like, oh my God.
And I was like, oh my God. Right?
It was crazy.
Yes. So the other half of that is the fact that at the time, a lot of people, we had just moved on from doing His and Hers, and we were hosting Sports Center. Mm-hmm. And more than half of my production staff was all into Greenleaf. And they brought me in the hive. They were like, no, you got to get on this show. You got to get on it. I was like, okay, I'll start. Many episodes later, I'm fully in the hive. Like we coming into work, we talking about, and what about charity and this and that and la la la. And you hadn't had your heel turn yet, so we were still liking you there. So you hadn't had the turn yet, right? So it became such a big bonding experience among the staff watching the show. Yeah. Then I drug Mike in. I was like, Mike, get on Greenleaf. So then we all in the hive. So when we saw you, I was like, oh my God, it's charity.
Crazy.
And you were with Merle.
Yes.
Right? And so it was just such a wonderful moment. And of course, knowing, the history of not just your family and what they mean to Detroit, but to my high school in particular, going to Mumford, where 11 of your relatives went and graduated from. So it was just a full circle moment for us to be at this award show. And at that point, I hadn't even moved to LA yet.
No, you hadn't.
I had not moved yet. And so, that was just sort of like the beginning embers of a beautiful friendship.
Yeah. And it's so exciting to be able to sit here and think back, because a lot of times you don't know why you're meeting people, how you're meeting people, what God has in store for that. And at that point, I think we've both said, like, wasn't nobody looking for no new friends. It was just like, I'm a fan. I think you're amazing. You're fantastic. And that's that. But then I ran into you again.
Yep, we kept running into each other.
Yes, Soho House.
Yep.
Ran into you again.
There, yeah.
And, being from the D, I'm like, this is where, because we're in this industry where people are so transactional and so like Hollywood, they know you one minute, they don't know you the next. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no, she from the D. and this is going to prove it. I saw you sitting at the bar, and I said, I'm going to go over and say hi. And if she is just as cool, like, it's about to be down. We going in.
Right.
And I came over, and you were like, oh, what up, though? How you doing? I said, oh, my God, this is it. This is my girl.
Of course.
And it was very much so an easy relationship. I don't believe in hard. I don't believe in working. I'm not gonna work that hard. I'm too old. So if we're meant to be friends, if this is something that God has for us, it's not gonna be
and
a
it
hard.
So organically.
It's
like I wind up moving to LA. Not only do I move pretty close to where you live.
Yes.
Right. And so we started hanging out, and then because you never know, and I'm sure you've been married longer than me. So when you become married, and who you become friends with as a couple becomes like very interesting. That's a much different dynamic. And I've certainly heard of many stories where like maybe every spouse doesn't necessarily get along or things like that. But like our husbands wind up becoming good friends too. So they kind of clicked up and it just kind of went on from there. But I agree with you. It was like very easy, very organic. Nothing was forced. And it just felt natural. And I felt certainly very fortunate at this big age to still be making friends. Because as you said, you do kind of have that mentality, like all the friends I have now are all the friends I'm gonna have. I'm good.
Yeah.
But then, as you say, you make plans, or as the adage goes, you make plans and God laughs. He like, no, I got one more for you.
Yeah. Yep.
So it was great.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you realized you were holding space. Like it works.
Correct.
It fits.
You hold space for the right people, right? Like there's always space for the right people who can be additive, and I don't mean in a transactional way, but just and helping you feel further rooted and further connected and all of those like really good things, and just finding people who are true and just transparent and genuine. And it's not as easy as it sounds.
It is not.
Yeah.
It is not. So when it happens, you hold on to it. And it becomes community. I say that Terrence and I have really been able to build a village, a community out here that I think my son and any other kid we may have will be so blessed to come up in. It is strong. I love Detroit. I love home, but we've created a home that I'm like, oh, we're good. Like we are really good, and that is very special for me. But Detroit is and always will be home.
Yes.
And I know that it holds a very special place in your heart. I know that it brings you a lot of joy. What about growing up in the D do you think has helped you the most be who you are today?
So looking at your life as something that was supposed to go a certain way. Like I could not have imagined being from any other city. And part of it is like when you think about the characteristics of our hometown of Detroit, tough, resilient, we're never the people who are first thought of. We're never at the front of the line. Yeah. Right? And Detroit, people have a lot of negative perceptions about Detroit and have held them for a long time. So you always feel like you have something to prove. And having that as part of your DNA is really important, especially in the industry like the one that we're in, is that, we're always looking for people to try to slight us or people to try to feel like, oh, you from Detroit? Like, let me show you how we do, right? So we're very prideful about where we come from, and having that sense of pride, I think, is important because it gives you a certain amount of confidence and a certain amount of, just resiliency. So the toughness, I love the fact that I got a lot of my toughness from Detroit. The other part that I love that I didn't really understand how important this was until I lived in other places and had a bunch of different jobs is Detroit gives you a real sense of identity. And especially if you're a black girl growing up in Detroit. You're living in a predominantly black city where you're seeing black professionals all the time, and you go to school and there's other black kids and you have black teachers. Yes. I remember on social media somebody asked about when did you have your first black teacher, and I was like, first? I was like, I only grew up having, for the most part, black teachers at every phase of my education. Yeah. And having that identity as you go off into the world where you're very much the minority, I think is important. So it's like my sense of identity, my sense of knowing who I am, being around people on the same vibe. Those are invaluable lessons that
Yeah.
you can only get in cities that are made up like Detroit. And so we know how to hustle. Listen,
Baby,
we got
baby.
5 hustles going all the time.
Baby,
Right?
okay.
One thing we're going to do is we're going to get this work, all right?
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
We're going to find
and
it.
so that work ethic,
Yeah.
because it's a blue-collar city
Yeah.
and coming from a blue-collar family, that is,
Yeah.
that's something that is hard to duplicate.
Yeah.
And so I'm just so proud of even Detroit in its darkest days and in its down moments. I still saw the beauty in the city. It was still there.
Yeah.
The way people love hard, the way
Yeah.
they do everything 100%.
Yeah.
Even dressing, we do it.
I mean,
2000.
because we're going to go there. Okay?
We are,
If we're going to give it to you, we're going to give it to you.
We're going to give it to you.
We're going to alligator that thing
Are we?
up and down.
Listen,
Okay.
we're going to have the silk. We're going to
Yes.
have all of this. All of this.
You're going to get it.
You're going to get all
With
of
a coney.
With a coney. You going to get this country Midwestern combination.
Baby,
like you ain't
all
never
day,
seen.
all day. It's so
We going
country
to match
and
it up.
Midwestern.
We going to match it up.
Baby.
So yeah, so I love like all of that. Detroit has its own culture and its own way of doing things, and it's something I've been able to take with me wherever I've been.
Is there so when I go back, there are certain places that I have to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't care if I'm here for like 24 hours. I'm gonna get 5 meals in.
Oh,
I'm gonna,
only 5? Okay, all right.
I
Okay,
mean,
yes, at the least.
Is there a certain place that you have to go that instantly just brings you joy when you get that food?
First of all, there's about 6 places, like you said. I have the food tour is already in my mind, so I know as soon as I land where I'm going.
Okay.
Right? So it's like, especially if I'm staying downtown, I'm going to definitely hit up Bucharest Grill. At some point, I'm going to order some carry out from my favorite Chinese food spot, Golden Bowl on 6 Mile. Definitely going to get Golden Bowl.
Yes.
Golden Bowl is home to me, for
Oh
sure.
my gosh.
Best Chinese food in the city. Still been that way for years. Go hit Buddies. Go get some Detroit pizza.
Come on, baby.
Right?
Come on.
Go get a coney.
Yes.
Right? It's like, for
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
And so like, yeah, it's the taste and the culture and the sense of home, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's never left.
Yeah.
And even though Detroit may be so drastically different now than the one we grew up in, it still blows my mind that Detroit has a Gucci store. I'm like,
Baby.
like Detroit got in the city. It's like,
In the city.
Detroit
Yes.
has a Gucci store. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. That's
Yeah.
what, but it's kind of on brand in many respects as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just certain tastes and comforts of food in Detroit. I cannot get that anywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
You really
And so
can't.
I
I've
love
been
it.
trying to find an Olga's. I can't find an Olga's.
Ma'am.
I can't find it anywhere. Olga's is so doggone good.
Oga's is the truth. It's,
Baby,
it's still open,
the original with a super cheese, I go. Every time. Every time.
It's still ordering the same way, right?
Absolutely. Original with super cheese. I want the Greek salad, but only with the feta and the olives. Extra dressing, extra feta.
Oh my God.
And then some snackers, the little small pita. Baby, I
But
go
the
in,
way
okay?
you have to just stay right to the top of
Absolutely.
Okay, you got your order now.
Absolutely.
Oh, I forgot to mention, I also have to get a corned beef sandwich. Because gotta go to
Lou's?
Lou's. Gotta go to Lou's.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes,
I love it.
All of that.
Yeah.
It just reminds me so much of just growing up there and just all the things I love about Detroit.
It's the joys of life.
Yeah. Food is a good
in
one.
our city. It is very much so. So I was reading in your book, and we were by the way, author. Uphill. If you don't have it, go get it.
Well, and as I always tell people, wherever books are sold, and somebody once said, where are they sold? And I was like,
I can't help you.
I led you this far. It's just a little
You
bit
gotta
further
drink.
to go.
You gotta drink.
Just take
The
a little
water's
sip.
right here.
It's right there. They said, where are they sold?
I can no longer help you.
Yeah, but in case someone does need to know, it's Amazon. It's so many places, bars.
Wherever books are sold.
Wherever, literally, books are sold. They said where are they sold. Yeah, I know.
Wow, praise the Lord. Okay, that hurts.
That did. It hurt me.
Okay. But reading, you started getting a love for sports at an early age. When did that passion, do you feel like, turned to, oh, this is something I actually want to talk about and do?
Well, it was a very organic transition because loving sports was the first sort of gateway. The other one was that back in those times, kiddos, it's like, where's my camera? Let me tell you about something called a newspaper. You picked it up in your hand. It came in a box. You put at that point, I think it was 15 cents, 15 or 20 cents.
Yeah.
And they gave you a paper and you had to read it.
Yeah.
Because, obviously sports fans now, they're used to sports content being everywhere. But if you were, living in any community, like if you wanted to follow your team, you had to read the newspaper.
Yeah.
You could follow it on TV for sure with local news. But my mother, she cleaned houses, and she cleaned houses for an elderly man, and he had a subscription to both the News and the Free Press, our two main papers in Detroit. And so I would read the sports sections cover to cover. And that helped me develop a love of not only just language, but just really being able to read about something, the players and the moments that I really cared about. It connected in my brain. And so when I got to high school, they had a high school journalism class. And as part of the class, you had to write for the high school newspaper. And so I took the class, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Wow.
When younger journalists, when these children ask me about how to do and become what you become, I tell them, I feel bad sharing my story because this is a blueprint that doesn't work.
That you don't have anymore.
Yeah, you don't have that anymore. And the other biggest outlier is the fact that I knew so early. You're talking 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
Most young people, it's very common. You might go through 3 or 4 different professions or even more than that before settling on the thing that you really love to do.
Yeah.
I just so happened to have a situation where it was love at first sight or love at first read.
Yeah.
And even before I started reading newspapers, I was always really into reading, period.
Yeah.
I loved going to the library. I loved writing short stories and writing poetry. I loved writing. I loved language. And this created an avenue for me to tell stories because I didn't know any authors. Writing a book just seemed so who knows anybody that writes a book, right?
Yeah.
But journalism seemed like a more practical path, and plus it kind of, the intrinsic nature of the profession very much matched who I was.
Yeah.
So it was definitely, it was a soul match, right? The number one element in journalism is curiosity. Definitely was a curious person. The other element, I think you have to have this sort of passionate embrace of the truth, whether it be a truth you want to accept or not. And journalists are supposed to be the defenders of truth. Yeah. And we're also supposed to be the ones holding the structures and the power brokers accountable. I truly have tried to live by this phrase in my career that our job as journalists is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. That is the whole point of journalism. Yeah. So you're supposed to be disruptive by nature. Yeah. And all of that appealed to me, even in something like sports. Yeah. That, obviously a lot of people enjoy for their entertainment, but there's a disruption that you cover in sports too. Yeah. That very much mirrors the rest of society. So for me, between the playing and the reading about sports, it was just a very natural fit for me.
So, a very, very natural fit. In recognizing that, was there ever a time, maybe in college, where you were like, oh, I thought this was it, maybe this isn't it, or this feels too hard, or does it feel like there's discouragement, or just something that's kind of blocking the path that you felt like maybe this isn't it? Did you ever second guess?
I did, but for very immature reasons, I must say. The one thing that I think really helped me in my career is that I didn't know this was something I wasn't supposed to be doing. I didn't know that little black girls from Detroit shouldn't be dreaming to be sports writers. Never knew that. Because I was lucky enough when I was in high school, not only through writing for my high school paper, I also started working for the Detroit Free Press then. And I had female mentor.
While you were in high school?
While I was in high school. I started then. I was, they had an apprenticeship program. I applied to it. I got accepted. And when the apprenticeship was over, I applied to answer phones in the sports department.
Wow.
And so I started answering phones when I was 16, 17 years old. And I would, they would have me write up these high school sports summaries, because high school sports, so big in the state of Michigan. So I was already getting my feet wet in the business. And the Free Press, they had one of the more diverse sports staffs in the country. So they had women, they had black folks, like they had a very diverse staff. And so the women that were at the newspaper took me under their wing.
Yeah.
And they gave me the confidence that I could do this. So I didn't know this is not something that women aren't supposed to do until I left the cozy confines of Detroit and got to college. And it was like, oh, it's really not a lot of women in this profession at all. And it's very unusual that women want to do this. But my first semester at Michigan State, I applied to the college newspaper, the State News. And you're a freshman, you're in college. It's your first taste of real freedom. And, I started working at the paper, and I'm getting paid $55 a week, working like 40 plus hours. Yeah. And I was lucky to get $55 a week. $55 a week, girl. Oof.
That don't even cover lunch.
No, it didn't cover a lot of stuff. I was like, my first month at Michigan State, I found a job as at one of the intramural. We had like different intramural offices on campus. They're like facilities, I should say facilities, because that's where people work out, that kind of thing. Yeah. So I was a softball ref because I played softball in high school. So I was a softball ref. I made more money doing that than I did working at the paper, right? Just working a couple of days a week. But the paper, I'm working 5 days a week. I'm working between 40 and 50 hours, $55 a week. Crazy. I was like, I don't know if this is the life for me. Yeah. Right? I see all my friends and peers, they hanging out every weekend, they getting it in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and I'm sitting there at the student newspaper, like feeling like, what did I come to college for? I thought I came to college to experience life. Yeah. So the semester was ending, and I said to our editor-in-chief, a black woman, Suzette, was the editor-in-chief, our friend Suzette, and I told her, I said, listen, I like the job. I'm glad I got the experience, but I think this is my last semester here. The way she read me for filth. Now Suzette hired me. Suzette is at the time, she was the first and only black woman to ever be editor-in-chief of the State News. So she basically gave me that, not on my watch. She pulled me close, like like she was Viola Davis. You is smart. You is kind. And told me to get it together, right? Yeah. And she was like, she was like, if you quit, that's weak. Because you started this, you said you want to do this, here's the opportunity, and you blowing it because you want to be more social. You know, like it wasn't a particularly good reason I had. And she got me together, and I didn't quit, and I stayed. And the rest is history. Yeah.
Look, I think the way that is so necessary, I think that sometimes we lack a sort of get your act together with the youth of today. Yes. With the youngers.
Yes. Sometimes we're not afraid to give them the harsh truth. Yeah. And she gave me the harsh truth and just said, like, right now you on some BS. Yeah. And as a seasoned member, and I think personally, seeing another black woman, she just like, listen, what I done been through to get to this spot, and you gonna quit? Nah, ma'am. Not today. We're not doing that. Not gonna happen. Yeah. And I have, thanked her many times, and I told that story in my book just because I wanted her to know that was a career-changing moment for me,
Absolutely. So then, as you have taken this amazing journey into your, 25 plus year career.
Yes, say that softly. Right.
It's amazing to me because I feel like you have such an authentic and truthful voice, regardless of what is happening in the world. And I think that so many people shy away from that because they don't want to be seen as controversial or wrong, or they won't like me if. And that has never been your character. That has never been your voice. How... It can be a dark world because it's not just sports. Yeah. It is a memoir. It is politics. it is just this nation at large, and you have become such a strong voice within all of those confines. It can get dark very quickly. So I want to know, one, what has been your darkest moment? And two, did you recognize you could still choose joy in that?
So a lot of my dark moments happened growing up. And that's why I wrote the memoir the way that I did. I wanted to be fully transparent with people. One, typically there's not a sequel to a memoir. So it's like, if you're going to put it out there, you got to put it out there. Put it out there. And as a journalist, when I sit down, with somebody like you or anybody else, I'm expecting a level of truth and honesty. So how could I not give that to the same audience that I'm trying to be respectful of? Absolutely. And not play them like they're stupid. And so a lot of the dark moments that I experienced were definitely growing up. My mother's a recovering addict. My father was a recovering addict. He and I had a very distant relationship for a while, and to a certain point where we were able to, finally have a bit of a real relationship. And so seeing her through the worst moments of her life, at the same time as she's going through that struggle, my mother was a young mother. She had me when she was 18 years old. I can't imagine having a whole adult child or having a whole child at just 18, which is crazy. So that means I've seen my mother go through all the milestones of age. 21, 25, 30, 40. Wow. I've seen her go through all of that. And try to...
her grow up.
I saw her grow... I literally saw her grow up. And we know from our own journeys how complicated that is. And even more so complicated for her as a rape survivor, as a recovering addict. And so a lot of what we were mired in, being mired in a lot of her trauma, being mired in poverty, all of those times I just was like, where is my childhood? I just felt like I didn't have one in a lot of respects, because I was, often forced to be the adult or to be, dealing with adult circumstances and situations and problems. Like this above me now. Like this is above my station. I don't really know what to do.
Way above me.
Way above it. And so, I look around, and of course you're looking at your peer group, and I'm like, their lives seem so light. Why is mine so heavy and dark all the time? I just had that sense as a child. So, but I realized the reason I went through that was to give me the amazing amount of perspective now. So these career setbacks that I may have, or even some personal setbacks, they don't look like how they used to look. And so I'm able to look at them and say, wow, I know there's something better for me, because at my worst, there was something better for me. So I know through this, there's something better. And because I think coming from that background, it allows me to deal with life, and even in the way I speak about things, in a very honest way, because I'm like, I have seen some things, y'all. Like, so I don't have the time nor the bandwidth to BS y'all. I guess this is what it is.
Absolutely.
So it gave me it helped shape the authenticity that people see in my voice. For me, I'm just being me. And even the things that I've said that I guess have created some level of buzz or controversy, I'm always surprised. I'm like, but it's so simple. I was like, it's
like,
not,
y'all don't see that?
Y'all don't see that? I thought we all saw that. Okay. I realize timing is everything. Sometimes I'm just too early. If I was just a little later, y'all might have reacted different, but I got to the party early. Y'all was still setting up inside. I messed up. My bad. I didn't mean to be this early.
Oh, man. But so in having setbacks that you are kind of like, this ain't nothing. Y'all don't know what I done been through. This is a piece of cake.
This is it.
Has it required you to, like, set boundaries in a way that protects this authentic piece that you get to carry?
I mean, I've definitely gotten much better at it. And one of the biggest components that has helped me set these boundaries is being married.
Talk about it.
Because being married, as forever, however grown you think you are, being married forces you to grow up in a much different way. And one thing I wanted to do is I didn't want to make the mistake of not putting a force field around my marriage and around my relationship.
Yeah.
And that's why I had to make sure that like that was the priority above anything else.
Yeah.
And putting that layer of protection around it and making sure that I was honoring that in the way that I wanted to really honor it. And so, yeah, like whoever I work with now, it's like my birthday, my anniversary, his birthday are off limits. Like I'm not working. I'm not doing anything because I wanted to make sure I was nurturing and growing this in a way that was befitting of the type of marriage and relationship that I had. And so that really forced me to like really figure out some boundaries, and I realized that boundaries felt good. They feel really good.
Yeah.
It feels really good to say no.
Yeah.
I have to say that. It does.
I remember when you said that's a whole and complete sentence.
Whole and complete
and
sentence.
I said, you are
no
wrong.
explanation required.
No.
Because the other habit I had to get out of is explaining why I was saying no.
Yeah.
I don't explain anymore.
It's just a no.
It's just a no. Right. It's just like, no.
God bless you.
Yeah. Bless your heart, but no. Right? Got to hit him with that, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that was very affirming.
Yeah.
Definitely for me.
So it's because you are fully telling the truth. I can vouch for you. You are missing on your birthday.
Yes.
Ian is missing on his birthday.
Right.
Y'all are missing on your anniversary.
Correct.
You guys are never anywhere to be found because you are with each other.
Right.
In the boundaries you have set, and y'all are enjoying. And I love that about y'all. I love that this is what, because I think that going into marriage, a lot of times people don't realize it's not about what everybody else do. It's not like, oh, what'd you do for your marriage? I'm going to do that. You can't copy and paste.
No.
You have a different mate. And so finding out who you guys are and how you want to move and choosing that and setting that, whether it's different from everybody else or not, is so incredibly important. And so I love that y'all have done that from the beginning.
Yeah,
like,
even before
y'all was married, y'all were like, so this
is what we both enjoy.
We'll see y'all later.
We'll see y'all later. We kind of do our own thing, but I think it's just being, now in this, marriage, and especially, you don't need to duplicate what other people do, but you can learn from what they do.
Sure, absolutely.
Right? So I learn from watching UNT all the time. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what it's supposed to look like. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
right?
Trying to be happy. And one thing I had to recognize, and I wanted to ask you this, going into marriage, were you ever told, or did you feel like, oh, this is gonna make me happy. This is gonna be my joy. This is like putting that sort of expectation on your spouse.
No, I didn't. I didn't. Okay. I guess I was too naive to know better. But I never came into this with the expectation that Ian was supposed to fill every hole that I had, or he was supposed to bring light to every dark corner, because I didn't want to put a savior complex on him. Like, I want to do life with him. Yeah. Right? And that means that it's not going to always look pretty. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that it's your responsibility to fix it all. Yeah. Right? Because I do think men are kind of natural fixers. Yeah. They see a problem like, okay, how do we do this? And sometimes that's definitely necessary. He asked me the best question recently when it was something I was just kind of annoyed about, and he was like, do you want me to solve it or you want me to just listen? I'd be like, just nod and agree. That's all I need right now. That's it. That's it. I don't need you to fix it. I'm like, just nod and agree. Yes. Like, that's it. So I do think that I didn't come into it thinking like, I thought I want to prioritize this person. I want to be with this person. I want to do life with this person. But I didn't want to make the mistake of making them sort of put in a position where they felt like they had to wear a cape all the time. Yeah. Because he's going to go through things, and he's going to, I don't want him to ever feel that he is less than if he can't wear the cape. Yeah. Like, that's not your job necessarily. Yeah. And sometimes we need to save each other. Sometimes I might need to save you. Sometimes you need to save me. It's a rotating cape. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And so, I was glad about that. Yeah. And I was glad at the age I got married, getting married in my 40s. Yeah. I just don't know if any other decade in my life that would have worked.
See, I was going to ask you, do you feel like your age was the right time, or do you wish you would have met him sooner? Is there anything you would change about the journey of your marriage?
No. even though that is a tough, it's a reluctant no, only because like, if I'd have met him sooner, the level of trauma it could have saved me. Jesus, I'm gonna have to deal with X, and X, like, oh my gosh. But even as painful as some of those lessons were,
yes,
they were necessary.
Yes.
Right. And so I feel like the way we did our journey was the way it was supposed to happen. And I really wouldn't change any of it. No, not at all. Like, I'm glad when I met him. I'm glad when we got married. Because I felt more just grounded and most importantly, from a career standpoint, I was finally in a position where I could make a sacrifice. Not just make one, wanted to make the sacrifice. Like, hey, if we got to move here so that you can do your thing, or if I got to give up certain things so we flourish as a couple, I can do that now and not feel any level of resentment. And so I thought it was important, from that standpoint. So, while yes, on one hand, I do wish I could have met him earlier so I wouldn't have to deal with some nonsense. On the other hand, I think it was important that I went through, if going through a few frogs, if that's what it took for this to be my life now, I'd sign up for it all over again.
I was going to say, I feel like the traumas create the person that they, and when I say they, I speak of like our husbands, that what they fall in love with. Like, you don't get to that level of resilience and understanding and grace and your own joy without that journey.
No, you don't. Because I think that's what makes you appreciate the joy more. Right? Is that I think I feel like this is from a movie. I want to say it's The Town, but I'm not quite sure if that's the case. But like the whole idea of that, you don't understand how great a sunny day is until you've been in the rain. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't appreciate something until you've seen the other side of it. And then when it's there, you can be like, oof, I know what it's not like not to be happy in a relationship. And now that I am happy in a relationship, I want more of that. So it makes you appreciate and work harder for it. So, much to, I guess, your theme of choosing joy, it is a choice in many regards, because you have to choose to want something more than you want the opposite of that.
And that's difficult.
It is.
It's difficult in a lot of things. And I saw a quote, and I've been flipping it because I really like it. Joy is not just the destination, it is the journey. And if we can wake up and try to choose, in the midst of everything, try to choose a moment to have that joy, the journey is life. Like, that's what you want out of your journey. So trying to choose that in the midst of it all, and not just thinking about the goal, the destination. Right. Well, by the time I get there, I'm going to have some joy. No, choose it now. Choose it in the middle of everything.
Definitely. Because like I have tried to work much harder at celebrating small wins, if you will, which is kind of along those themes of choosing joy. The process, it took me a while as an adult to understand that the process was the most beautiful part. It really wasn't. I mean, listen, the pot at the end of the rainbow is sweet. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But that process is like, that's the part that you have to fall in love with whatever it is that you do. I remember the late Kobe Bryant, he talked about that a lot, about like, you got to love the process. And for my profession, I tell younger journalists this, is that I love this job just as much now as I did when I was a freelance reporter in college at the Lansing State Journal, making $30 a story. I love it just as much. And if you can, whatever it is, if you can love it when it's not bringing you all the things, I think that is the true sign of how much you do love what you're doing. Because I'm sure you probably love what you do now just as much as when you were doing theater, Wayne State, and like all the other stuff. Right. Like, that part can't change.
It cannot change. And when it does, that means you need to find something else.
Correct.
I remember I was 16 and Sam Jackson told me, Because I told him I wanted to be an actor, and he was like, "Why? Is it for all of this? The trailers, the glitz, the glam? Because if it's for that, you need to find something else to do." And I was like, "No,
you would never make it.
I really love it." He said, "Well, if you love it, then you can do it. You gotta love it. You gotta love it." And I know, even if you were not my friend, even if I didn't know you in this close of a capacity, I can tell by the way you move, by the things you say. You love what you do. You are committed to what you do and committed to making this world a better place than when you got in it. And to me, that says everything. I have one more thing I want to ask you before we go, and that is, so I want to give you 3 prompts.
And
you can choose one. You can just choose one.
All right.
You choose one, and then you can choose one for me.
Okay.
So it's either name a time where you chose joy in your career. Name a time when you chose joy in your personal life, or give me a time where you just didn't know if you could find any joy at all.
Ooh, well. 3 very appetizing choices. But I'm going to choose to ignore sometimes my natural pessimistic instincts. So I can choose one, right? One of the 3. All right. So I will pick choosing joy in my personal life.
Okay.
Right? I'll pick that one. And what I will say is I came to the conclusion, especially after I left ESPN in a very awkward way, I guess that would probably be the best way to surmise that, is that it was, the reason I often refer to it as being like the best thing I ever did is no disrespect of what I did at ESPN. I was there 12 years, longest job I ever had, probably the best job I ever had too. It wasn't about that. It was about, I finally was in a position to choose and design my life. And I know that sounds odd because I was already fully grown, and of course I made a choice to go to ESPN, but part of journalism, the hard part for a lot of people, especially for a lot of women, is that you have to go where the work is. So you're constantly kind of at the mercy of the industry. Right? You know this well. It's like,
absolutely.
You got to shoot a movie here in Vancouver, you got to shoot it in Vancouver. Like, you have to go where the work is. That's where we are. But when I left there, I was able to, Ian and I were able to talk about, where do we want to live? Where do we see ourselves building roots? At that point, we had never lived in the same state. We were long distance. And we chose Los Angeles because we like it personally, we like it professionally. So I chose to build a life. And it reminds me of like how I ended my memoir. And I talk very intentionally about this. As women, as black women, as black people, we spend so much of our lives and energy in survival mode. Everything is just about surviving the next thing. You can't live if you're always surviving. And so I wanted this chapter of my life to be about choosing life, choosing to live, choosing the joy. Like, you know what? I want to do this. Like, I told you this. I was like, listen, I don't want to retire late. What we've earned and been able to pull it together. You know what? I don't remember who said it. I think it was Ocean's 11. I love to quote some movies. I think it was 11, 12, or 13. It was one of them. Where my man Sal said, like, I want the very last check I write to bounce. That's how I'm trying to do this. I want that last check to be bad as hell. Be bad. You be like, what? Well, that's what you get for letting me write a check for a Bugatti then. That's what you get. That's your fault. All right? I want that last one to bounce. Right? And so this chapter in my life is all about that. And I chose that. So sometimes you go through phases in life where you feel like life is happening to you. As opposed to like, I'm choosing the life and I'm choosing what I want. 2018.
That's amazing.
Chose it. I was like, we here, like we doing this, you know? So that's my choosing joy.
That's amazing. Jemele, there's so many things I could say about you, but I'm grateful that I get to call you a friend. I'm grateful that you have done so much to change the landscape of this country, and I will always honor that. I think it's easy to become so close that you forget how great someone is, I never want to forget what you have done, what you continue to do. I salute you. I thank you for coming to Choose Joy today.
I appreciate that.
And
thank you for appropriately shaming me. You know I'm not great at taking compliments.
Yeah, I know. And I love it. This is why we're just going to pour it on real thick. Because she can't do nothing I'm light skinned.
I'm probably all red in the face right now. I'm messing with you.
And you are, because this is not the time of year for you. And it's fine. It's okay.
Not our best time. It's getting dark at 12:30 p.m. The sun ain't sunning on us the way it is on everybody else.
But it's okay. So you just gonna sit here and take this.
I'm gonna take this ray of compliments, and I appreciate you for that. Thank you.
Love you
Thank
dearly.
you for seeing me.
Always, even in your translucent moments. Cheers to you. Cheers to choosing joy. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Choosing Joy with the one and only Jemele Hill. As you already know, if you listened, I think she's absolutely incredible. A couple gems I'm taking away from this episode are from our hometown, Detroit. What up, though? If you're from Detroit, click that like button and subscribe. Let's talk about that good food, but also talk about the resilience to continue to be everything God has called you to be in the world in the midst of all of the crazy that's going on. The strength and the courage that it takes to choose joy, to choose you, to be resilient every single day. It's a task, but it's a task we can do together. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.